薄いのアホ。
プリズムパワーメイクアップオカードレディー。
Welcome to Shojo and Tell, where we discuss shoujo manga and tell who's hot and who's not, talk about themes, and just generally geek out. Today, October 15th, 2022, forgot the year, but I'm going to insert that there right now. We'll be shoujo and telling about the series Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku by Fujita. I'm your host, Ashton McDonald, and I'm joined by Ellie of Religiously Nerdy. Hello, Ellie.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Ellie, this is your first time on the podcast, so can you tell us more about yourself?
Yes, so hi, I'm 1/3 of Religiously Nerdy. And what Religiously Nerdy is, we are determined to identify spirituality in anime, manga, and pop culture and just find other, well, we're three Muslim women, three Black Muslim women, so we try to find other Muslims that are in the nerd culture and try to just bring them up to fruition and also just hang out with other content creators that are passionate about pop culture and anime.
Yes, and that's how I saw that you did that, and then I was like, you're yelling about shoujo, so let's go.
Yes.
So now we're here, but Wotakoi is actually a josei. I should say that off the bat. It's a josei series, and it's one of them Pixiv things. So do demographics even matter? Question mark, question mark, question mark. We're doing it. We're just doing it. We're
doing
going for it. So this first section, that's probably like 10 to 15 minutes, will be our attempt at a spoiler-free little discussion, really high level, what's the series about, our general feelings about it. And then at some point I will give a spoiler warning, and then we will ruin the ending and all of that. So if you have not read Wotakoi, you probably don't want to listen past that. But so here we go, spoiler-free section. So Ellie, could you give a quick plot synopsis of what Wotakoi is about?
Yes, so we are following the story of Momose Narumi, who is a diehard fujoshi who tries to play it cool at work, but she runs into an old childhood friend named Fuji Hirotaka, who's an avid gamer that knows about her secret, and you're kind of going along with the hijinks that they go in their relationship and their coworker relationships, Koyanagi and Kabakura, and and now Nafuji's brother's relationship, Nao, Chan, and Ko. So you're following three different relationships, but it all comes together in the end. It's very wholesome.
Yes. And they're all different levels of otaku and have varying feelings about their own otaku-ness and otaku-ness in general.
Yes.
So I think I like to start with what our familiarity of the series is. I have known of Wotakoi for a while because it had an anime, and I obviously could not avoid that. However, I am very sad to admit that this is the first time I am reading it, and I have never watched the anime.
Aw. Well,
I know.
It's okay. Don't feel
sad.
bad.
Okay, I feel bad, but thank you.
I saw the anime. I saw like the opener of the anime, and I was like, oh, it's so cute. Never watched the anime. Completely forgot about it when I was asking at one point on Twitter some shoujo, some josei that I could read. And Wotakoi had popped up. So I was like, okay, I'll read Wotakoi. And the next thing I knew, I owned all of them.
That's how it works, right?
That's exactly how it works.
And then you became like obsessed with it.
Yes.
As far as I gathered. So what do you love about the series so much?
So I like the natural flow of the relationship. It didn't really feel forced. They were just doing what they normally do. So like what that goes with all the relationships in the manga, each individual relationship kind of went through their own process of their relationship. No, it wasn't like, I don't even know how to say it. It wasn't like your typical shoujo where everything is dramatic and over the top. It was just natural. Right. So like I think people should read it because of that reason. It's like a genuine love story between each of these characters, and it kind of, I know this is not a shoujo or a josei, but like it reminds me of like Sweat and Soap, how it's just so beautifully put together, and it's just a natural flow of just a relationship blooming and blossoming and just people accepting themselves in the process.
I have heard much praise of Sweat and Soap, and so I definitely am like, I have to read it. And I know I keep being like, I feel like I'm including like more and more seinens and like other things now. And I'm like, I gotta stick with my shoujos.
You gotta stick with shoujos right now.
And my joseis. Yeah. Like, gotta stick to the meat of it. But yeah, I have to admit, so I did in the end really end up liking the series, but I feel like for the first volume or two, I was like, I'm not on the vibe of the humor. And I do think that Narumi and Hirotaka are kind of like the weakest couple. I'm not gonna lie, we'll get into that later. So I'm kind of like, but then like at some point I was like, all right, you know what? Actually, I get it now, and I like it, and I get what you're saying. I compare it to like fan fiction, and I know that obviously it's not fan fiction because it's an original story, but like I think the vibe of fan fiction, at least that I like to write, is usually like, well, it's either like AUs or just like I just want to write cute moments between my favorite couple. And I feel like that's all Watakoi is just like daily random funny bits. Like there's half the time the stories aren't in order, like you'll just be jumping around in a timeline. There's no point necessarily, like half of them don't drive the plot forward. Is there a plot? Question mark, question mark, question mark, you know. And I'm like, yes, I just want to see people being cute. That's what's up.
It gets there. It gets there.
It gets there. Yeah. Some people have more of a plot than others, you know?
Yes, some people do have more of a plot than others.
Some people have more of a journey than other people. And I'm like, that's cool. Yeah. So once I finally was like, I don't know, just the first volume, I was like, why do I care? And then I think it's interesting because, I mean, I don't know how much of this is like a spoiler, but the opening stories, you kind of revisit them 2 or 3 times later in later volumes from like different perspectives. And I think that was kind of interesting narratively too. I was like, yes, this story that I didn't like at the time, you're making me warm up to it.
Yes,
Manga, thanks.
it's like different POVs and you got to appreciate it more. So I got to appreciate it more.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know that I'm exactly like any of these otaku. Like, I'm not like, oh my gosh, Koyanagi is so into cosplay. Like, I don't cosplay at all, you know? So I'm not like, you know? But I'm like, all right, I'm weeb enough to be like, oh no, I'm the filthy weeb, you know? I understand. I'm the filthy weeb. I understand too many jokes. I don't like it.
Oh gosh, the filthy weeb.
Filthy weeb. Yeah, so I in the end, I'm like, yes, I recommend Wotakoi. It's very funny, and we're all otaku, and I mean, my husband is also an otaku, so
that's nice.
So you're just all come in one happy family.
Yes. So like now I understand. He actually, I showed him a couple pages of the manga, and I had told him that I wasn't like super into it in the beginning, and he was like, I think I will like this manga more than you. And I was like, probably.
Wow. Did he read it?
He didn't read it yet, but it's because he like super lives online. Like all of his friends are online friends, and I'm always like, no, you need in-person friends. Like,
the social one, the introvert. Okay, I see it.
Yeah, so like he's just like more on their vibe, I think. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. But so if we have piqued your interest at all about Wotakoi, it is available from Kodansha Comics in the US, both digitally and physically. Because honestly, I bought it digitally for this, and I forgot that I pre-ordered the upcoming box set.
Oh my gosh.
And I only remember because I got a notification that it was delayed, and I was like, okay. But so there's a box set coming soon that you can have the whole thing. You're like, I gotta buy it.
I already own all of it, and I even got the special. There's Barnes and Noble had special edition covers, and they came out with like 2 other special edition covers. And I bought the first one, and I'm like, I can't buy 2 more copies.
Yeah, okay, this is a real life Wotakoi situation happening, like how Narumi and all of them were like, we have to get every edition
I
ever released
know.
of everything. This is what they're doing with Wotakoi.
I know.
So I ordered the box set. We'll see if that ever comes. Pandemic, who knows? I don't know. And as mentioned, there is an 11 episode anime that's available on Amazon Prime. I think part of the reason I've never watched it is because I boycott Amazon, so I don't even know that it exists actually. But I did look into the anime because I was curious where it ends, and it seems like it ends really early on.
Yeah, it looks like it ends really early on if it's only 11 episodes. I didn't
It's
know
11
it was only on Amazon Prime either.
I think that's what I gathered. I could be wrong, but yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's only on Amazon Prime. And from what it looked like, episode 10 like introduces Ko.
No.
And then episode 11 was the one, which one was it? It was the one where Narumi tries to surprise Hirotaka like going to his apartment for like New Year's break or whatever to see if he would be like really cute, but then he's just like dead from not eating for 48 hours or whatever, 3 days from gaming too hard. That's where it ends. And I'm like, that's so early.
That's so early. Oh my gosh. Is there gonna be a second season?
We'll get there. But the short answer was I didn't see any information like that they were making a second season. So yeah, so if you've only watched the anime and you're listening to this episode, like you can listen and you'll know who everybody is, but the manga goes way beyond that.
So far beyond.
So we're probably going to talk about stuff that you don't understand. But so here's the spoiler warning. If you haven't read Wotakoi or watched it, you might want to pause and come back later, or you don't. And cool, whatever. Don't yell at me. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's weird that, well, now I want to know if the anime ends in 11 episodes, where does the live action end?
I have no idea. I couldn't even find a place where we could watch. Yeah, I forgot there's a live action too. I couldn't see that was legally available anywhere in English. Yeah, we got a question about it, and that made it seem like is it even like a straight up story from the thing? Who knows?
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, so let's get into the nitty-gritty details of this. And we'll start by setting up the characters. AKA this whole episode is just shipping corner because that's what this manga is. I'm sorry. But we'll also talk about how they interact in their friend groups as well. So we'll start with Narumi. So Narumi, as mentioned, is a big old fujoshi. Like all she does is draw doujinshi, which is just like fan manga. I believe she draws BL. Oh yes, she definitely draws BL.
Definitely draws BL.
So she's just really down this rabbit hole in her. So she has many interconnecting conundrums. Like she wants to keep. She's very sociable compared to the stereotype of otaku being like really weird, antisocial nerds, right? So she's like has pretty good social skills, and she wants to keep the illusion that she's not an otaku. So she doesn't want anybody at work to know.
Desperately.
She doesn't want anybody she dates to know, which that's much harder. I'm like, I don't know about that girl, but like work boundaries fine. Like somebody that you're gonna live with for the rest of your life, probably not. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, for spoiler reasons, can I say this?
Yeah, you can say it.
Okay.
We're in the spoiler section now.
So, I mean, I kind of feel her when she was kind of initially open about like, hey, yeah, by the way, I'm a diehard fujoshi. And the guy was like, full stop, we're not doing this. I would be kind of messed up about it too. Like, I'm not going to talk about it. But especially like work, you don't know what people are going to do at work. That's where I work.
Yeah. I guess what I was disappointed with in the end about that whole thing was that in the end, nobody, like, usually when those things come up, the narrative will at least acknowledge, like, hey, if they couldn't accept that part of you, then they weren't, like, for you, right? Yeah. Like, it's not you, it's just that you don't mesh. And, like, nobody actually said that in this manga, and I was like,
they were like, okay. Everyone was fine with it. Especially at the end, everybody was just like, okay.
Yeah, well, so they were all
Just
fine
a way
with
of
it.
life.
But like Hirotaka and Narumi have that whole big fight at the end. And Hirotaka's never like, well, that guy just didn't understand you, like he wasn't worthy of you. He was just like, they just end up fighting about something else. And I was like, okay, I mean, the argument was so easy. It was just laying there,
Yeah.
but fine.
The biggest argument of the only argument, in fact.
Yeah. The only real argument. I mean, Koyanagi and Kabakura's whole thing
That's
is
a
arguing.
whole
That doesn't count.
other...
Doesn't count. That's a whole. We'll get into that. We're gonna leave that there. Yeah. So there's one real argument, and I don't know. Narumi, for me, out of the cast of the main 6, I was like, you're the weakest link. Goodbye.
Yeah, I have to agree because she wasn't like a horrible character. She was a main character for like every single character interacted with her main character.
Yeah.
She was the basic main character. She could have had more to her, but I feel like her story was hidden back for the fact that she just wanted to be kept in this little bubble. So she didn't really get to expand outside of the fact of, oh yeah, I'm a diehard Fujoshi. And it's like, okay, I get it.
We get it. You really are into BL manga. And Hirotaka, but you can't just tell him that.
Gosh.
Can't tell him that either. Gosh.
It was just so complicated. Because it was like, it was, for me, it was like, she didn't realize that she liked him until like the end.
Yeah,
when she
like
realized,
2/3 of the way through or so.
Yeah, and it was like, oh boy, honey.
Yeah. Where have you been for the 20 years of your life?
But like, if you read the like in between panels where like the mangaka writes like little side stories for them, and I think at one point, I don't know if you've gotten there either. It says like something along the lines of have Hirotaka like dote on Narumi, and she starts cracking up and she was like, no, he would never do that. That's so out of character.
Oh, I loved that one. And he was like, don't I dote on her all of the time? Isn't that my whole character?
It's like, yes, I love this for you.
Yeah, I guess I felt like in the end, Narumi just had too much like reservation about everything. Like, it's like, she can't let anybody know she's a Fujoshi. She can't let anybody know she's dating Hirotaka. She doesn't realize that she actually likes Hirotaka until really, really late. And it's like, ugh, girl. She's involved in everybody else's plot, and she's like ostensibly the main character, but I'm like, she doesn't go anywhere, and the starting place wasn't great. So
yeah.
Yeah. But then we find out in the very like last interview with the author at the very end of the series, she says Hirotaka was the heroine all along, which I'm like, yes, thank you.
Yes.
He was.
Amen.
Amen. So Hirotaka is just a gamer, just like that's his whole life. He's just like, I want to game and have Narumi kiss me. Like that's like the two thoughts he has. Working. He's so big. Working is just a means to buying video games and sustaining his gamer life, like that's absolutely it. And his friendship with Koyanagi and Kabakura is also just like they can come over and play Mario Kart,
Yeah. They're just like, you can come and play. And I love how the progression of his character did a lot. Like, I was really emotional over Hirotaka because he started off just being like, no, I'm only doing solo. I will only do solo. I do not care if you guys play, to being like, oh, well, I'm used to it by now. I'll play this character for you guys, and I'll play this character if you guys need me to play this character. And it's like, so you can be a support character. You can be like a tank character. You're doing all these other stuff for all these other people when before you just wanted to be solo and left alone.
Yeah. I did really end up enjoying him, especially when we got more in his perspective at the end, like the chapter where I guess like they're fighting and we're revisiting some of the earlier scenes. And he's just like, is it a glitch in the system that she's like dating me? And like, he's just like, I said that stuff on a whim and now I'm here and I don't know where to go. And it's just like an impossible boss.
There was just so much to, it's like it was a learning process for him. Plus it was like everything, like Now-chan was saying, he was just so happy that everything he wanted was happening, but at the same time, he had no idea how to even maneuver through it. It was like playing a brand new game. It's like playing Elden Ring.
yeah. I guess I'm trying to, like, Hirotaka, I feel like, you know, the group splits between, like, ashamed of their otaku-ness and, like, unashamed. And Hirotaka just, like, does not care, right? Like, he's just like, I'm a gamer, deal with it, but I want to play Pokemon Go right now. I want to be playing, you know, what was FGO and like Grand Blue Fantasy and all this stuff right now. And all the characters are like, that is a gift and a curse. And he just doesn't know how to deal with the curse bits yet, but he learns in this manga and it's nice.
I think my favorite part was the little subtle thing that they had made a comment that he had perfect posture. And I was like, a gamer with perfect posture. Amazing.
He doesn't want to be hunched over when he's old. He's like, I need to protect myself.
It was like, this man is sitting fully erect, playing. This is beautiful. Just cross-legged, just playing his games.
He's a hot man, you know, like that's his whole thing too.
Yes.
And like him and Narumi are cute, but again, they're just like, it just takes so long. It's just like, just say stuff.
It's the slowest slow burn you will ever
encounter.
It's so slow.
Like, it's so painfully slow. I'm like, you both have liked each other the whole time. And what did you do in the end? You kissed once? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And like, in the beginning, there was the thing where like in chapter like 3, she thought he was gonna sleep with her, and then it was just like, just kidding, we're just gonna play video games. And I was like, we went way back from that, like that breaking point. I'm like,
she really was like, my panties, and I was like, girl, get it together. You were mocking him moments like days ago about even entertaining the fact of going out with you. Now you're like, oh snap, my panties, what color are they?
He wants to get in them. I need to know. I need to remember if they're sexy enough. It's like, what?
And he goes out and buys a pink Wii controller. Like, the man...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that part. That was funny, though.
Oh, it was just too... He was just too pure for that moment.
Yeah, to touch it.
She literally started off on 10 and then gradually went down to 1 and then was like, you know what, we can start back up from here again.
Yeah, like they went in opposite directions, right? Like I feel like he started out at -2 and then by the end was like, wow, but I really wish we could like kiss and bone down a little bit, you know?
Like they had plenty of opportunities, like the moment she came over for New Year's and she told him to go take a bath while she was cooking for him and he was naked.
I know.
And I'm like, what is gonna happen? Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. We're gonna forget about that.
This is not that kind of show.
We never talk about his penis again.
Right. They did.
I was like, okay, this is so strange. Pacing is so wacky. Yeah, so they like them together was just way too slow for me. I liked Hirotaka's relationship with Kabakura as well, but we'll get there.
Yes, we'll get there.
Oh gosh, we'll get to so Koyanagi. Koyanagi, gosh, I can say words. So Koyanagi is also team like, yeah, I'm an otaku, deal with it like less aggressively than Hirotaka. But she's really, really into like less into BL than Narumi, but still into BL and also into cosplay. Particularly cross-dressing, which annoys Kabakura, but and she's very much like the like typical hot girl and everybody loves
She's
her.
so hot.
Well, she's hotter when she's a man. That's my opinion.
Gosh, she's so. There's like one drawing like in between pages that I saw of her, and I was like, bruh, she's so freaking hot. And I about lost my mind. I took a picture of it, and I think I even posted it on Twitter, and I was like, why is she so hot? It was great.
It's criminal how hot she is. And that she ends up with Kabakura.
Their whole relationship, how it started off, was just so explosive.
Yeah.
And then, like, it continues to be explosive. It's just an explosion. It's an active, but it's like a beautiful explosion. It's fireworks.
It's fireworks.
It's like, oh, I'm scared, but it's pretty at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, oh gosh, I just have so many thoughts about Kabakura, actually. Like, Koyanagi is fun. I don't, like, particularly feel in love with her, you know? Like, I'm not like, Koyanagi's my favorite character.
Koyanagi, I don't even know. It's like because it's not like they both intentionally argue. They don't argue just in general. They just argue with each other.
Yeah. They're not argumentative.
They're not argumentative. You never see Koyanagi arguing with Hirotaka. In fact, she like flirts sometimes, that I think, especially when she's drunk, with Hirotaka.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That's true. Well, we could talk about that. Yeah, like, well, we'll talk about it after we get to Kabakura, like, more in depth. But yeah, like, there's definitely some interesting pairings we could do elsewise in here.
I thought about it the entire time I was reading it. Like, are we really, like, how is everyone okay with this?
Okay, yeah. I think that's again one of the issues that I have, where I'm like, okay, you started off this manga being like, Narumi and Hirotaka are childhood friends who, like, understand each other. So from that perspective, it makes sense. But we are told that Narumi and Kabakura both, like, kind of mutually like each other. But again, Koyanagi and Kabakura are also kind of not, like, very tiny childhood friends.
Narumi
but
definitely was like, Kabakura was her type. Like, girl, this is after you agreed to dating Hirotaka.
And she said it to Koyanagi, didn't she?
Yes.
Like, you just said it straight to her face. And so I was like, oh, we're going to, like, explore that. But no, we didn't. No, there was no explanation. No.
We just accepted it and we moved on with our lives.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, again, a strange choice. Yeah. The more I think about it, I'm just like, I just feel like volume 1 started off really, like, hard and seeded so many things that were not followed through with, which I think is for the better. It's rough because I remember, you know, and I'm like, but I had expectations that weren't met by the narrative, and I mean that can be good and that can be bad. Like, it's just weird. Yeah, so Koyanagi's, like, fun and sexy, and, like, she's definitely team, like, well, you don't have to flaunt that you're an otaku, but you don't have to hide it either.
Yeah. It just is. Like, if someone asks her about it, yes, I am.
Yes.
With confidence. Whereas Narumi is like, I don't know what you're talking about, and if you ask me again, I'll cry.
If you ask me again, I'll cut you so that you can't tell anyone. So Koyanagi and Narumi, like, are fun friends. Oh, they disagree about Seme and Uke's as well. They're always like, no, this one should be...
Especially between their boyfriends.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Because they all should have tried dating each other.
They should have. Just to sample
just to know. Just to see a different reality. Like, that's all I'm saying. Because we have Kabakura.
Yes.
Oh goodness, Kabakura. So Kabakura. Yep. So Kabakura, his whole thing is that he has a scary face, which he does. Like, I'm like,
Bakakura.
Why does he look so mean all the time? Very purposeful art thing going on there, but, like, so Kabakura's whole thing is that he just likes anime a lot, but he's on, like, Narumi's team, and, like, we gotta hide it and be adults about things, and like, nobody can know.
I would say he goes to greater lengths.
You think he goes to greater lengths, really?
I would say yes. He doesn't even want anyone to see him at the store. Whereas Narumi will be in the store and be like, yeah, shopping around. You will catch her in public places. But Kabakura, you will not catch this man.
You will never find his anime stash.
You will never find his anime stat. Like the panel where he sees people from his job, where he sees people from his job coming, and he's like, oh my god, I either have to go out for drinks with them or I have to walk past them and have my bag. And he takes them out for drinks even though he doesn't want to go. Like, he goes great lengths to avoid the fact that, no, I've never been here. I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking. This bag is nothing. It's a Murakami novel or something.
My brain really went to like, he must have had the bag hidden under his jacket the whole time, because there's no way he went through that whole evening just...
Yeah, there was one panel that showed that he had like put it on the bench, which was lower than the table and like behind his like briefcase and jacket.
Yeah.
So that they wouldn't see it.
Dedication.
Yeah. I don't know though. Like, I definitely, my brain interprets Narumi as being more extreme in this case. But like, I feel like we just get less, like, Kabakura isn't coming to work with a briefcase full of BL.
Yes.
You know, like, he's just giving himself less opportunities to be found out than Narumi, because
Narumi is just out here. See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Kabakura is like, you will not catch me. You will not catch me slipping. Narumi is like, I have room for error. And she F's around, and she finds out towards the end where she actually drops her bag and stuff comes out.
Yeah.
And even though she freaks out, and because at first it was like a dream, and then it actually happened. And when it happened, actually happened, that's when I was like, oh God, she's going to lose her mind. She's going to burst. She's going to burst into tears.
She's actually going to quit her job.
Yes.
Because that had been an April Fool's joke that she did to Hirotaka once.
Yeah.
Was being like, I was found out, so I'm leaving.
And he was like, oh my God, are you for real?
Yeah.
Poor
and she was like, no, it's April Fool's.
The betrayal. Poor Hirotaka. He didn't deserve any of that hardship.
Yeah. She's just being mean to him. Yeah, all right. I mean, from that perspective, like, yeah, Narumi hangs out with Koyanagi, who, like, puts her in more situations, whereas, like, Kabakura is like, I'm not gonna give in to Koyanagi's crap at work. I'm not gonna bring my Nintendo Switch to play with Hirotaka, you know, like at lunch or something. Like, he just doesn't.
Right.
He's not gonna give himself that opportunity. And yeah, he's definitely the one who has the most, I don't know if he has the most grating personality, but he's definitely like the gruffest, you know. Yeah. He's not a pure heart like all these other, like, he's definitely a tsundere where the emphasis is more on the tsun than the dere still by the end. And I'm like, all right, interesting character type. Knowing that he was based, I think Fujita said in one of the or write-ups in the back that he was like based on her dad, and I was like, everything makes so much more sense now.
Oh gosh. I don't think I read that. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
she said she based Kabakura on her dad, and I was like, I feel like that makes a lot of sense.
Wow. That does make a lot of sense. Just the gradiness of it all. Oh god. Oh, it makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's just like, he's just such a man, you know? And I'm like, all right. Such an older man. Okay, well, he is based on an older man, so that makes sense.
Here we are.
Here we are. And then he somehow has to interact with Nao, who is Hirotaka's brother, and just, he's a light type.
He is. He is so pure. He is the purest character of the... Hold on. Can I say that?
I was like, but there's also Ko.
There's also Ko. This last couple is the most purest couple, but now is light encompassed, like, yes. Innocent, just wholesome.
a non-otaku who just
A
wants everybody to
non-otaku.
have
Just
a
wants
good
to be
time and
involved.
have a happy. Yeah, he just wants to have fun and for everybody else to have fun and feel included and get along. Like,
Yes.
and then he's like, "Oh, I can play games too. Ko doesn't yell at me like my brother."
Right. And he even, but like his friends, like when you meet his friends and like you do like the little side by sides of his friends, and it's like, okay, they're both perverts. And then you have now. And it's like, how did this happen? I get you guys are childhood friends, but like where disconnect? What
Yeah.
happened for you guys to like all stay together? Which is beautiful that you guys still stay together. But like, how did this friendship?
But how?
Yes.
Tell us the secret to great friends. His friends end up being good too. They're like, all right, we see what's happening with
Yeah.
Now and Ko.
They saw
And
it
we
before
support
he did.
it. Nobody was like, Ko is not. Everybody mistakes Ko for a man, which when they when that happened initially, the manga actually has this thing where there's like a little line, a joke at the bottom of like most pages, which I'm
Yeah.
like, that's crazy. From a writing perspective, that's just like so hardcore. You know?
Just little side notes.
Little side
snarks.
notes, yeah. And so the one for when, you know, we start to realize that like Ko and Now like each other, it was like, oh, did you? But like Now's discovering that Ko is a girl too. And then it's like, oh, did you think a BL plotline was happening here? And I was like, I did think a BL
The plot was happening. I did.
I
did.
You tricked me.
You got me. This is not what the story is about. This is not that kind of show.
Yeah, I was like, all right, we're not in a BL. We're just in a story about people who like BL.
Yes.
Sorry, I got confused.
My bad.
So anyway, the point of that was to be like, Ko is not traditionally feminine or attractive, and I was happy that I don't remember anybody in the manga being like, now you can do so much better, even though I feel like that's like kind of the natural thing that most people would say.
Yeah, his friends were very supportive in that. And I think they realized that they liked each other before they realized that they liked each other. And it was just kind of sort of blossoming. Even before, because they knew that Ko was a girl.
Yeah,
Now
they
didn't know.
Yeah.
So it was probably even more confusing for Now to be like, what is this emotion that I'm having?
Yeah. Like, ooh, have to recalibrate.
Because even at the end, when Now and Ko come over to like play games, Kabakura, and I'm sure we're going to talk about their interactions. Ko and Kabakura's interaction, but like when Kabakura sees Now and Ko together, he was like, "Oh, is this like a BL kind of thing?"
No, he still doesn't know.
I hated that we didn't. I wanted to see more of those interactions, but
yeah,
I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, Now and Ko weren't really like super integrated into the friend group because one, they're younger.
Yeah.
Two, the starting place was like Hirotaka is like, my brother doesn't like games and he sucks at them, and so forget that guy.
But like when Now was being really vulnerable with Ko, it was just so emotional for me because it was like you could tell that he was trying really hard, and he was trying really hard, and he was shaking, and he was.
I know.
Look,
this was my favorite couple. I was like, this is so pure, and I love it so much.
Baby, it's okay.
No, I think I almost cried. Not like really hardcore, but like a little. So I was like, I'm getting teary when Now realized that, you know, Ko had made a confession and then like semi-chickened out at the end of it, like when she got dressed up in a skirt and was like, I really like you, and so I hope we be friends forever, or whatever cheesy thing she went with in the end. And I was like, oh no, Now had that moment where he was like, it must have been so hard for her when she was, so used to being alone. And then she confessed to me and she has like no emotional intelligence. And that must have just been really hard. I was like, yes, no.
Oh, God, stop.
Stop, my dear children. No, I love you so much.
Gosh.
I know. So I love them is what I'm saying.
Yes, they are the couple. They are the it couple.
They are the real couple here. Yeah. I've realized we didn't. So Ko is like a hardcore gamer as well. Like, yeah, has less social skills than Hirotaka. So like just real awkward. And now just like finds her. He works at a
coffee shop.
A coffee shop, like fake Starbucks, basically. And so he sees her sitting alone and is like, you go to my university. Let's be friends. And Ko's like, why are you talking to me? Lighthearted? What is happening?
The stranger danger alert.
Yeah, stranger danger like comes up real hard for Ko. So Ko runs away like a bunch of times before that. He's like, or she's like, okay, hi, like what's up?
I love that she gave him a chance because even she was like, he's a light type.
He's a light type. I don't know how to deal with these. Yeah, not only did she give him a chance, but yeah, she gets integrated into his greater friend group. And it's like, that's actually so hard. Like, it's so hard.
And then towards the end, I thought it was just so nice. When they were studying together and she just was looking at him and she was like, where are your friends? And he's like, don't you want to just spend time together? And I was like, oh!
Like, I just want to be with you.
How dare you? That was both smooth and cute at the same time.
Yeah, and I love that Ko, because I would never be this good with somebody who sucks at video games. Like I'm definitely the type who's like, if you suck at this, like stop, just leave. Because I'm mean.
Yeah.
But I love that Ko was like, I'm gonna let Now win. I'm gonna help him. And I'm like, that's so sweet and pure. Why can't I be that sweet and pure?
I know. She helps him so much in the video games. I think this is actually one of the questions.
Yeah, I was like, we can go into the questions now. Oh, well, the last thing I wanted to say was that October 15th is Ko's birthday, and we're recording on October 15th. So happy birthday, Ko! We love you so much.
Yes.
Okay, so we can get into this this question since it segues into it. All right, so at Finalia Cosplay on Twitter asked, what were some of your favorite anime gaming references in the series? Also, which characters would you want as an otaku bestie? So it appears you have an answer related to Ko, so you can go first.
I do. So it was at the end. It was literally at the end, and I was just going, they did a Dead by Daylight. I love Dead by Daylight.
Oh, the horror game that they played?
Yes. When they played the horror game, I love watching people play Dead by Daylight. I am bad at playing Dead by Daylight, but they played it, and Ko was a really good, she was Huntress, and at the end, even though Now was like the last person to survive, somehow she let him have the hatch, and it's just her character gesturing towards the hatch as like a friendly killer game, and I was like, that's the kind of match we love. That's what we love to see. So that's my answer to that question. Which character was I want to have as an otaku bestie? Honestly, Kabakura.
Really?
Yes, because it's chill. Because I'll get my little recommendations, but it wouldn't be like too over the top. Because I know with Koyanagi, it's probably like she would treat me the way she treated Narumi. It's like, hey, will you like to cosplay with me? And next thing, bam, bam, boom, we are in this. And I wouldn't be able to fully commit to that. And I know with Hirotaka, he probably wouldn't be. I don't game as much, so it really wouldn't matter.
Yeah, he would just like be like, all right, bye. Like he wouldn't pay attention to you.
Right, exactly. In Narumi, I feel like I don't read as much BL, so she would give me BL recommendations, and I would just be like, okay.
For sure.
I'd probably take them into consideration. I'd probably read a little bit. It would open my world to some more BL manga and anime, but like, because, I mean, He would gradually, I mean, I'm pretty sure Kabakura would gradually get into BL.
There was that one chapter where Koyanagi convinced him to read one. He was like, crap, it actually was good.
Yeah, exactly. If you recommend him a good one, he'll probably read it. So I'm like, okay, I probably can get something from Kabakura. So yeah, Kabakura is my answer.
Okay, interesting. Unexpected. Yeah, so my favorite anime gaming reference is that, like, at one point there's a chapter where it's kind of like in the past explaining Kabakura and Hirotaka's one of their first interactions. So Hirotaka made a mistake because he was out from work the day before. Presumably he was sick or something. And so he made a mistake in his work, which he doesn't normally do, even though he's new. And so Kabakura asks him out to drinks so that he can be like, hey, you know, this mistake could have been avoided if you had just asked somebody for help. You know, like he wasn't like going to yell at him or reprimand him or anything. He's just like, just want to point this out to you, you know? But Hirotaka starts off with, it's not my fault, which was a reference to Tales of the Abyss and the main character who does something that he should have known was bad, but he did not know. So he does a thing that was very, very bad. Lots of people die, and then he proclaims multiple times it's not his fault. And I recently did play Tales of the Abyss, and my husband and I are very like addicted to Tales of games. So I'm like, anything with Tales of, I'm like, yes, tell me more. Tell me more. I'm playing Tales of Arise right now. My favorite is Tales of Zillia. Don't like I just go down this Tales rabbit hole forever. In general, I actually like, it's like I know that these things are a reference and vaguely what they're references to, but a lot of them were to shonen manga. And so I don't necessarily have like firsthand experience with all, like most of the series that were referenced. Like, I don't know. I've never actually watched or read any JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yes.
Like anything. So
JoJo's
like,
Bizarre Adventure is amazing.
I know it is, but I'm always reading JoJo. I don't know, man. Or what I'm like, I'm a sucker for the shonens that are like not actually good and nobody else talks about really, like, or like, I don't know. Like I was really into Dimension W, even though the anime sucked. I'm like, no, it was awesome. I love this manga. I love Bleach but for none of the reasons that anybody else likes.
Well, what are the reasons?
Well, I'm just like, I have a whole thing. I'm trying to write like an original fic where I scrub off that the serial numbers that it's like, you know, originated from Bleach in any way. But I'm just like, Kubo writes amazing romances for characters that he does not in the end ship, and he is wrong. Rukia and Ichigo forever, you bastard.
Thank you so much. People are all on Twitter talking about how they do not go together and how just because they have like...
No, they're wrong.
Just because they have like, oh, they have some kind of relationship means they go together. And then someone was like, this man literally woke up from a coma almost near death to the sound of Orihime. And I was like, that doesn't mean jack.
No, that doesn't mean any... This man also had Rukia's soul powers injected into him. They are soulmates. This is so
literal.
Stupid. I hate
soulmates.
I have feelings.
We could get into that all day. We could.
I could get into that all day, but yeah. And then like I'm currently reading Twin Star Exorcist, which like nobody in the English fandom ever talks about. Ever, and I'm like, I love this. It's so good. Anyway, so like, yeah, my shonens, I don't do the ones that like everybody else is doing, and I'm like, I don't know. I try, and then they always disappoint me. Like, I don't. They're gonna hurt you in the end. Okay, just accept that.
They do. They hurt you in the end.
I do think I would want to be friends with Now or Ko. They might be too pure for like I might scare them away, but I would hope they would be my friend.
So wholesome.
Yes. All right. So stepping back a bit, we've got a question from @Wagsby on Instagram. You know, apologies if I pronounce things wrong. These are all made up words, or they're not, and I'm just really ignorant. I don't know. Yes, this is one of my favorites. Which character do you identify with the most, and why? I have to say that @Shojo Sunday, which is another Shojo podcast, they do anime though. They've done main Saba, and I know they did a silent voice as well so far on Instagram. Also asked, which character do you identify with most in the series? Would you like to go first?
No, you go first. You go first.
Oh, me go first. I know this is a regrettable answer, but I do actually identify with Kabakura though. with a smidgen of my pure Ko. Like the way that Kabakura doesn't deny his otakuness, but like doesn't want to dive full into the swamp and is just kind of scary and a hard ass is like really what I'm actually like. Maybe less hiding about it than he is. Like I will wear, like I have denim jackets that I have pins and like patches on, and they're like mostly anime things. Like they have Kill la Kill things on them. They have My Hero Academia things on them. I only like Bakugo and My Hero Academia. I'm not at all caught up, to go back to the shonen point. So like whatever. So I'm not like hiding it to the degree that he is, but I'm definitely just like, I don't bring it up unless it's brought up first. If I somebody else kind of,
it's just there.
It's just, that's just, like I do a whole podcast and I'm like, most people don't need to know that. So I don't say it in most cases. But I do also relate to Ko and her like sad thought spirals. Like that is definitely how I think about people. Like when we finish this call, I will be like, did Ellie hate me? Does Ellie hate me? No. Like I'll just go into a nice spot. I'll be like, this was horrible. Yeah. And then I'll get over it like 2 weeks later when I actually listen to the episode. I'll be like, it was good. That's the whole thing though.
Oh no.
Yeah. They are also the two characters who love shoujo manga. So obviously I have to love them. And that's, they have their whole relatability, but also grave misunderstanding over the shoujo manga. Over, as far as I can tell, Cardcaptor Sakura, clear card.
Yes. Gosh, the special edition copy.
The one special edition copy left.
Gosh. So if I could identify with one character, it would have to be Ko, for the same reason of the spiraling thoughts, because my thoughts going to be like, do I sound like an idiot?
No.
Also, I just have been starting to get into shoujo and kind of understanding the difference between the demographics and whatnot. And I'm trying to get more into shoujo, and I've stumbled down such a dark path because there's so much, but there's so little at the same time, and it's frustrating. Right. So I love Ko because Ko is very much in her own little bubble, but she's also very fearful of everything and everyone around her, which is also me. But like once she gets comfortable, she's comfortable.
Yeah, she's just like, oh, we're going to play this shooter game. Like, I'm going to look like a badass. Like, let's go.
Yeah, so I would definitely say Ko for this one.
Ko. I mean, the one true answer to most questions.
Yes.
Is probably Ko. Unless they're negative questions, then it's Kabakura. All right. So at Drew Softman on Twitter, who is my brother-in-law, said, what nostalgic anime would you absolutely catch a marathon of and cry about during work? I believe this during work hours. This is a reference to, there was one story where Narumi ends up crying because her favorite character dies. And like she was so excited to watch it.
She?
But was she just watching Sailor Moon?
She was watching Sailor Moon.
Oh, maybe I'm mixing up the stories then. There was one where she was excited to read the chapter of a story and her favorite character died, so she was mad. And then the other one, she was just watching Sailor Moon and it was like, it's so good or whatever. I'm very curious, what would you cry if Sailor Moon was?
I've been watching Sailor Moon. I don't think I would cry over Sailor Moon. I've been inspired by Sailor Moon, but I wouldn't cry over Sailor Moon. If I would watch an anime and cry over it, it would have to be Inuyasha.
Oh.
And I thought about this for a long time, and I came to this conclusion because it's such a nostalgia trip for me, even if it doesn't hold up the test of time. Like, it's such a nostalgia trip for me. I would watch it all the time with my uncle, And like I would go to his house and he would let me stay up on the weekends and we would watch Inuyasha. And I remember
Did
one
he
time,
like that? I need to know.
yes, he did. He would be the one to be like,
Nice.
yes. Because I remember one time I was asleep and he woke me up and he was like, hey, the Inuyasha movies are on Adult Swim. Do you want to watch it? And I woke up from my slumber so fast and we watched all of the Inuyasha movies until like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Nice.
Yes, so I'd probably.
So you had a
cry.
cool uncle, is what you're
I
saying.
have a cool uncle. Yes.
Nice. Okay, interesting. Yeah, this was hard for me because I was just like, I don't feel like I would cry over most of my nostalgic anime. Even I really, really, really love Escaflowne, but I don't think I would cry watching it. I didn't cry then. I don't think I'd cry now. So I was just like, I mean, I watched Anohana, the flower that we saw that day, like a solid decade ago at this point. I'd probably cry if I saw that again. That's such a sad anime. Or like maybe if you put it on at the right moment of Fruits Basket, like a real sad Kyo moment, I'd be like, oh, I am really sad.
Yeah, and thinking about it now, I never finished it because I cried so hard. But if anyone were to play Angel Beats, it's a wrap for me.
Oh,
it would be a wrap. I didn't even finish it. I think I got to like 4 episodes in.
You were 4 episodes.
I was like, this is too much.
You were already crying too much.
Too much.
I think my husband would pick Angel Beats too, probably. That would be a strong contender for him, at least.
Yeah, no.
So at Lum Rama Yasha on Twitter, who is the host of the Manga Mavericks podcast, said, thoughts on the live action movie. It focused too much on Narumi and Hirotaka unhappy in the relationship because of insecurities and not enough on them having fun together. Portrays the relationship badly. Also didn't like that they turned Hanako and Taro into fake out love foils. So you didn't watch the live action either, right? No. So I admittedly have not watched the live action movie, but just from that description, I feel that I don't like it.
Especially if they did Hanako and Taro, like they're something else, but don't discredit them.
Yeah, no, they're totally realistic. That doesn't mean they're healthy or like that I want them to necessarily stay together forever, but like their relationship is valid, you know?
Yeah.
They're dynamic. I understand they're dynamic. So at Otaku Noobs Pod on Instagram said, can't wait for season 2. I just love Hana and Bakakura. Obviously this is another anime podcast, but I have to admit that, yeah, I tried to look into whether there would be a season 2 of the anime, and I know that it came out a couple years ago, and since it hasn't come out yet, I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, I never say never in this current media environment where all we bank on is nostalgia and reboots. But like,
right.
You know, it's not, I don't think that's a confirmed thing that's happening yet. So all soon, No Dare on Twitter, who is Caitlin, who has been on multiple episodes of this podcast, asked, what did you think of Kabakura's shift in how he treated Hanako toward the end? Did you think it was believable? Also, Narumi, Hanako, top tier ship. I mean, yes, Narumi and Hanako is one of the ships that should have been tried, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I can definitely see that happening. Their dynamic was just too, I don't even know how to describe it. It fit perfectly. Like if they were to do something, especially when they cosplayed, it was like, yes, this is perfect.
This is perfect. Yeah, so how did you think about Kabakura's trying to argue less a little bit by the end?
Yes, that's what I was gonna bring up. He was trying to argue. He wanted to try and rectify their relationship since all they do is argue, since that's basically their MO, is that all they do is argue all the time, to try and make up for the fact that he genuinely does love her. But like, even though it's like you don't really tell unless he's drunk that he like thinks she's pretty, because other than that he's calling her ugly and calling her a hag, like insults going everywhere. And so it's like, but when he's drunk it's like, oh, you're so beautiful, I love you so much, baby, I love you, baby, don't leave me, baby, don't leave me.
Yeah, whereas when Koyonagi is drunk, she's like, Hirotaka, you're kind of hot.
Right.
Like,
So
what?
it's kind of, it's giving me confusion. But I like you can tell that he genuinely loves her, even in like the flashbacks, or like when he initially gave the necklace. I think it chalked up to just him being nervous and not having a clue what he was saying about the necklaces, which is why, you know, he proposed in the first place. Well, not the reason why he proposed in the first place, but like the reason they were having a bigger argument about the necklaces in the first place, about how it wasn't a big deal. But like I think he was just trying to make light of their situation and trying to make their whole relationship better by trying to be like, I don't want to go into the next part of our lives with all this negativity.
Yeah, I'm also not sure that like that little blip in him being super nice really carried over to when they were married in the
Yeah, no. I can't see that happening either. But like it was because even she was like something's wrong. We're not
Yeah.
arguing. Something has to either you're gay or you're cheat. No, but like she noticed it and it made her feel kind of weird because it kind of was unwarranted. I mean,
Yeah.
I can see where he was coming from, but at the same time, don't fix it if it ain't broke.
I thought though from a storytelling perspective, the whole thing about losing the necklaces and what it meant to Hanako and him being like, well, I wanted to give you the new matching thing. I thought that was actually really cute
It was
from a
cute.
like storytelling perspective. But it's
Yeah.
like, and I could see that, yeah, like he would be flustered knowing that he wants to propose and like change his attitude like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if like him permanently, like them slowly inching closer to compromises more often actually would have a like breaking point like that, you know?
Right. Their relationship didn't really change afterwards either, anyway. So
Yeah, I mean, it's like I still got the sense that they were like crabby when they started living together.
right, and then they would do it less, like they wouldn't do it more at work. But then after they got married, it was like, oh, now everybody knows we're together, so now I don't have to hide it. You're
Yeah,
about to
now we
catch
can
these
fight
hands
at work.
in the hall. Like they were
Yeah,
arguing.
that more was like, I think that you should still not fight at work. That seems like a boundary should be still in place.
Right, but was it? I don't think there was.
No, I don't. I think they were just like, we're going off the rails now. Let's go. I was like, all right. So at Frumpy Chai on Twitter just asked, how do you feel about the ending generally?
How do I feel about the ending? It ended.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I got more Cohen now.
Ooh, I mean, always. I mean, the manga should have been about Cohen now.
I wish that we would have got to see. I don't know. I guess where it ended with Hirotaka and Narumi, it ended where it needed to end. We don't need to see any more of what goes on past them because it's going to be. I feel like it would have just been the same of just
Yeah,
a
but
slow
that's
burn.
what's frustrating. Right? I feel like I was so confused because the last volume has a story about Narumi making Hirotaka go to the dentist. And I was like, what? Why is this happening like 2 chapters from the end? Like, it's just, I don't, their relationship is so nothing.
Like, she was so integrated in his life that at that point she should have been like, this should have happened a long time ago. I feel like the way she was just like self-insert, like he showed interest in pain. She was like, I already got you an appointment, babe. Let's go. Like, okay. And like he went, like he was already head over heels. That goes without saying. But like she was just so oblivious to how invested she was to him that it took all of this and a whole superficial argument. I'm sorry, I think it was a superficial argument to get you to be like, okay, I'm in love with you. Let's have this relationship. And then smooches on your banister.
Yeah, to me, like the ending of the relationship was weak sauce, but like most of their relationship was weak sauce. So
yeah,
it makes sense, I guess. I think Now and Ko ended like in a logical place. I think their progression was nice. I think Kabakura and Hanako also ended in a logical
Wonderful
place.
With a baby on the way.
Yeah, they have a baby coming. It's a baby. I was like, but wait a minute. Were y'all trying to have a baby, or is like Kabakura is he dense, or did he not know? Was that like, surprise, we're having a baby?
I truly don't think he knew.
Oops.
I don't think they were
not
trying
how I
at
would
all.
recommend going about that, but okay.
He was excited though.
He was. I mean, they're fine. They'll be good.
They'll be all right.
Yeah, so like in the end, it was kind of like because Narumi and Hirotaka were kind of always weak as the main couple, and the whole manga is kind of just a lot of silly day-to-day like stories. I was like, the ending's never gonna feel like grandiose and like complete, you know? Like it's just gonna be like, well, we could just keep doing this forever.
It's like trying to end a slice of life. Like,
yeah,
you're not gonna get something amazing. Something amazing, I guess. You're not gonna get something like that. You're just gonna get something small. So it gave what it should have gave, I think.
I think I could have done without the like epic frivolity of a dentist episode for me, but that's okay. Yeah, so I guess just wanted to talk quickly through like some overarching themes, like what the manga thinks or doesn't, or presents as like what constitutes adulthood and or normalcy. And I think I brought up this chapter earlier in this episode because it's the one where Kabakura tries the BL in the end and is like, oh crap, it was good.
Yeah.
But the chapter that had the most like hit me as, you know, an adult fan of things that are meant for children or perceived as being meant for children at least was like Koyanagi and Kabakura in that chapter were having like Kabakura is being kind of mean and being like, why do you like BL so much? It's garbage and like blah, 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 blah. And Koyanagi's like, well, what if I just said Yuri's garbage? How would that make you feel? And like all these things. And they just go on and on. And then eventually Koyanagi is like, you know, when you have strong opinions about everything, it's really hard to have a conversation with you because like he has opinions about things that he doesn't really care about, right? Or know anything about in any way. And so she's just like, you know, you have such strong opinions that you don't use the word like lightly, do you? Like you're always being serious to the point of being absurd. And I was like, stop talking to me, Koyanagi. I don't want to be called out this hard. Like, you know, because I actually try very hard not to have opinions about things that I don't know anything about. Like, people always are retweeting things about things that they're like, oh, well, this gives me reason of why I shouldn't watch this because look at all these people who say it's bad. And I'm like, I don't care, you know?
Yeah.
If I didn't watch it and form my own opinion, I just like don't care. But like I have a lot of really strong principles that people like. I don't use Amazon, and people think that's so weird because you can get everything in a day, you know?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Like at first, like for an example for me would be like with the whole Bleach thing with Bleach that just came out. Mm-hmm. So at first I was like, yes, Bleach, I want to watch it. And then I kind of gradually got to the point where I was like, am I hyping it up because it's coming back? Because I can't remember Bleach.
Yeah, right.
So then I had to dial it back and be like, no. I can be excited for it, but be like, I'll watch it when I do my rewatch because right now I have no actual say for what I'm like. I cannot contribute to the conversation. And it doesn't hurt to say, you know, I don't know, or I have no idea what to contribute to this part of the conversation.
And the flip side of it is that like the thing about like you don't use the word like easily. Like I definitely feel like I do that. And it's like, would I consider myself an otaku? Like, clearly I have this whole podcast about Shojo, and I'm like, yeah, I read a lot of manga, but like, I play games, but I don't feel like my whole life, is like anime. So I'm like, I don't know that I would say I'm an otaku. But then, like, I feel like this goes both ways. Like, otaku are like obsessed with everything. But then I feel like I get mad at, quote unquote normies who are like, well, I love this thing so much. And I'm like, you love Spider-Man because you watched the movies? Like, like what? There's no level of dedication here,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It goes both ways for me.
It does go both ways.
And in the end, kids, there's no normal. Just don't search for it. What's being an adult? Working, and paying taxes.
And then crying in your spare time.
Yeah. And then being sad that you will never have enough money for all the things you want and perhaps need. So
yeah, that part.
It's very sad. It's very sad. I feel like
sorry.
Adulthood is so fun. I'm having so much fun being adult. No, I'm not. I feel like the manga also touches on like gender and otaku again in this episode. It's like kind of blatant where it's like, well, men always think they're right for liking cute little girls and they think Yuri is fine and magical girls are fine, but then if you get into BL, like,
you're gross.
And then Koyanagi argues with him and she's like, BL and shoujo manga are basically the same. And then he reads it and of course again is like, oh, it was really good. And I'm like, yeah, they did start off being basically the same, though. Like the history of that is like very clearly rooted in shoujo manga, where now it's diverged, right? But like decades ago, they were the same. And I'm like, yes. I do wonder, like, I guess I'm kind of glad that, the gender didn't split up. Like Koyanagi and Hirotaka are both ones who are like, we're fine with people knowing that we're otaku. We don't try to hide it.
Right.
And then so we get like an even gender distribution between the ones who are like, we must hide it at all costs. And the ones who are like,
are kind of shied away from it.
Yeah, like it's fine. And I feel like they have the same level of social competency, although obviously like, Kabakura is allowed to be like meaner and get away with it. I feel.
Yeah, like I don't think, like if someone were to catch Kabakura like from work, if someone were to catch Kabakura, I feel like his reaction would be far more angrier than but he would get away with it. Whereas Narumi, if she would have burst into tears, she would have been probably looked at like, oh,
why are you having emotions?
Right. Why are you having a mental breakdown right now?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, ugh. I could see these things happening, but the manga doesn't like go hardcore into that. So like, I'll give it a pass on this. I did think it was interesting in the final interview, like the author and the interviewer were discussing that they're like, this feels like a realistic otaku scenario, but then they were like, no, it's more like a very idealized otaku scenario. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
There it is.
I personally would have no idea how any relationship would work, real, ideal, or fantasy wise.
What?
Like for like an ideal otaku, what I'm envisioning is like, okay, you both like similar things. Like, I mean, for this case, let's say Narumi and Kabakura were an item. They actually got together. I feel like that would be an ideal otaku scenario.
Mm-hmm. I'm just like, we got to talk about Kabakura and Narumi, the possibility of Kabakura and Narumi, and
because he called her cute like 7 times.
Oh, he was definitely just like, she's so cute and I love her. Like, what?
This man was married in the same room with his wife. Like, wow, she's so cute, when they were like doing COVID virtual hangouts.
Oh yeah, I did really like that chapter. I was like, oh, this is fun to see it portrayed as like their 4 screens consistently. I was like, this is cute. I haven't read any recent enough manga aside from this where like COVID becomes a plot point. But yeah, no, like Kabakura and Narumi. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, would they be too similar though? Like, does it not work? I don't. You need some points of opposition so that you can grow. Is kind of how I've come to think about romance a little bit.
I don't know how romance works.
I
don't know.
You're like, no romantic advice from me.
No romantic advice from me. I am not the one. I live my life vicariously through Shojo, so yes. I can't even give you. It's probably going to be wrong.
Yeah. I feel like I was living my life vicariously through Shojo, and then I was like, but why can't I just do this? So then I did it.
Look at you.
But then I also traditionally growing up love like really sad, dark literature, like still like love story literature. So like I really liked Nicholas Sparks.
Oh yeah.
Growing up and stuff like that. And now I'm like, oh, but I feel like I was still stuck in the Nicholas Sparks novel. Like
wow.
all these health problems I've been having. I'm like, no, stop.
Stop. No.
Get me out of here.
Get out of the Nicholas Sparks novel. Be safe.
I just wanted to be in a cute shoujo manga. Why did you do this to me? Like,
oh my gosh.
Why did you do this to me? But yeah, I'm like trying to think about Koyanagi and Hirotaka. I feel like Koyanagi and Hirotaka don't work.
But they don't. I don't think they work.
Yeah, but Narumi and Kabakura could stand a chance.
They could work. Gosh, Koyanagi would be too much for Hirotaka.
It's too much for Hirotaka. Yeah, like she's too like not light type. You know, it's too bitchy.
Yeah,
not enough into games.
I feel like Hirotaka needs somebody that's like will at least be quiet.
Right. Sit there quietly with him.
I don't think she would be able. I mean, I feel like she would be able to do that, but I don't think she'd be able to do that, if that makes sense.
Right. She wouldn't be able to continuously do it.
Yeah.
I think she would also actually be able to bully Hirotaka into doing cosplay more, but he would that would annoy him more, so he would just like bounce.
Dang, that's so sad.
So sad. Oh, all right. Well, I think that's like Wotakoi. I mean, obviously there are 50 million tiny references that we could talk about, but that's not the kind of podcast this is. So, do you have any final thoughts that you want to say about Wotakoi, Ellie?
If you haven't read it, give it a try. It's so cute. It's only 6 volumes, so I think it's a light read. So just give it a try.
It is a light read. I would say the 6 volumes are largely omnibus volumes, but then they're shorter than regular omnibus volumes. So like it's actually 11 volumes, but I say that it's actually 8. I cut it down the middle. Like it's only 8 volumes.
Only 8.
All right. Well, so I think that is Wotakoi. We have done it. So thanks for listening to Shojo and Tell. Comments, questions, constructive criticism, concerns, need to gush about your OTP? Email shoujoandtell@gmail.com or leave a comment on the episode's YouTube page. We're at Shojo and Tell on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. Ellie, where can people find you and your work on the internet?
People can find me, Ellie, at The Muslim Blurred on Instagram and Twitter. You can also find me at Religiously Nerdy on Instagram and at 3 Muslim Nerds on Twitter.
Yes. So are you excited every time you see a new episode from us? If so, please consider leaving a rating on Apple Podcasts. This will help the show reach more hearts, or at least ears. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back next time for something. I always come back, don't I? Just you wait. I want to ask some more new people that haven't been on the podcast before to come on. So prioritizing people over series, okay? So just wait. Until then, bye.